Sometimes your nightmares come to play. Have you ever been totally isolated and alone in a location? Recently, I was alone at the hot springs in Big Bend National Park, and I was so isolated and in such a remote place that I was feeling pretty relaxed, and at the same time, I had a heightened sense of fear. There's a song by Iron Maiden, Fear of the Dark. It conveys these emotions in a well-orchestrated manner. Well, actually, it conveys the emotions of fear alone, but not also that feeling of peace or solitude that I had, where I was relaxed, So I was relaxed and tense at the same time, sitting in this scenario. And by that, what I mean is I was kind of stressed out. I was stressed out because someone was swatting at a hummingbird moth at dusk just before this soak. And even my smart device recorded that my stress levels were high on this particular day. And I needed extra time to recover from my stay in a hot spring in the middle of nowhere with nobody bothering me. Recently, I had the chance to talk with one of my relatives. Coincidentally or not, since that day itself, my heart rate variability information has remained constant ever since having the most unusual conversation with yet another relative of mine. If I told you that I could document just how these things could manifest physically in a person who was being impacted by even a parent who might, for an example, choose to not be so uplifting. If I told you that I could measure those facts as data and that I could go into nature and show you that my health immediately is restored even in light of other perceptibly stressful situations, would you believe me? While I can't promise that we will all learn to communicate together as a humanity, pay attention to this animal for a moment and tell me if you can't understand it. I've recounted this story in many ways to close family, close friends, park rangers, and many others, and the most interested people in relation to being interested in this story are usually the most spiritually gifted at listening and displaying compassion with one another. I feel as if all of our energies are connected, and for those of us who are truly paying attention, I invite you to join me on this journey where I help showcase possibilities of new ways to communicate as you observe this bear communicating with us right now. This pregnant bear woke me up at sunrise with a territorial sound, which is a very guttural or quite disturbing noise, to try to communicate that the animal meant business. I've been visiting and camping in the Big Bend National Park area since 1993. And in 2023, I had 2 very close human-bear interactions. And when I told the park rangers, they didn't even know enough to pull out the permit or the registry card that says that there was a bear or mountain lion sighting. Even having been fortunate enough to place a motion-activated camera at the foot of my tent, where you can see the bear sniffing literally at my feet for over a minute. Even with this information, the park rangers were not interested, and neither were most people. I know that if I would have recounted this story to my grandparents and or shown them the video, they would have been astounded. Imagine seeing a bear right upon awakening, right at daybreak. So imagine having 2 unique encounters with black bears in the desert like this. Now imagine that you are the black bear who I respectfully communicated with and understood because I watched you and admired you. I just wanted to acknowledge how amazing you have been to me on this journey of learning to communicate with one another. Welcome back back to my channel, everybody. I try to make it to places where the typical traveler isn't going to explore. I do that for the purpose of spotting animals in whatever condition they're in. But more and more frequently, this is the kind of stuff that I'm finding. Not sure if you could see in the video, but parts of the balloon were starting to fall off. More and more microplastics being introduced to our environments. And at what cost? Was it to tell someone you loved them? Happy birthday, happy Mother's Day, something like that. You see, I found a fly here, but even the flies are uncommon at this point in time. A lot of animals are a lot less noteworthy. Anyway, I'm going to try to find a way to collect this act of destruction. It's not specific to whoever did it. You know, we've all destroyed the environment, possibly even today. And our parents don't really want to talk about these things for some reason. I roam the desert at night. You'll rarely see me in the light. And don't you be so surprised if you don't see me at all. But you're not the last soul who I'll see tonight. And do you hear me anyway? Or are you still focused on the day? Sometimes your nightmares come to play. Sometimes it's easy to overlook the storm shadow closing in on you tonight. They run and hide, what's the point? When did death ever disappoint? It's like a hammer to the joint. If you don't spark it at all, maybe your first blow will not be your last. I roam the desert at night. You'll rarely see me in the light. And don't you be so surprised
If you don't see me,